No justice. No justice. No justice. No justice. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? When do we want it? 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 Fist bump the person next to you. Tell them you love them. Saturday Action Rally Ensemble, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning for the Saturday Action Rally for you that are here at the House of Justice at 145th Street in the Village of Harlem, and you that are listening live on WLIB 1190 AM in New York, and you that are watching us live stream or cable, we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy, and our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. And give a hand to Pastor McClellan, who did our inspirational message. Let me say, and I'm going to move quickly, I want to thank, first of all of you in Radio Land and that are here that made last week's Voter Rights March a huge success in putting our agenda. As we gathered that morning and got ready to march, I tweeted out that we're here getting ready to go with about 20,000 people. And as we got down the road, we marched about 1.5 miles from McPherson Square, headed to the National Mall in front of the Capitol. CBS said, no, it is 50,000 people. And I want to thank all of you that sacrificed. I do not take for granted people get up and get here at 3 in the morning to get on buses, but y'all did it. And to ride down 4 hours to Washington, ride back, to stand up for a cause takes commitment. And those are the people that make change in this country. Give yourselves a big hand. You know, a lot of folks just act like folks just do so. It takes sacrifice. And it takes commitment. And I don't think those of us, you know, I'm getting ready to write something. I'll talk about it later in the year. But I want to do a book on people that never got credit. You know, some of us go out and march and rally and do things and know we're going to be on the news. But the people that are at the end of the line, that ride 8 hours back and forth to Washington and know their picture will never be in the paper and they'll never be on TV, those are the real giants and champions of the movement. We are honored today to have with us the governor of the state of New York. And she knows that one of the young people that grew up in this organization, we known him from his younger days when he used to come here and hang around Teresa and them. He grew up right around the corner, 144th Street. And she chose him to be lieutenant governor. And I said to him, I said, you're going to be at the rally Saturday because you know he's here most Saturdays. And I talked last night, Brian, with Reverend Jackson. Jesse's been in the hospital. And I was telling him, I said, you know, we have Governor Hochul coming in the morning, And Brian Benjamin, you know, who was our station, he said, I remember last time I spoke there, Brian was sitting 2 people from me. I said, how do you remember that? But he remembers that. And I said to Brian, he said, I'll be there. And then I got a call saying that the governor's going to Queens to be with AOC to deal with some work in terms of the post-Ida hurricane ramification. But she's coming to Harlem to escort home her own lieutenant governor. So I want you to know that this is a real, real salute to him that she won, because she announced him in Harlem. But she said, no, I'm going to double back. Now, let me tell you something. She's been here before. When we dealt with the George Floyd case and dealt with Andrew Cuomo and all, she came and said, I don't have to speak. I'm here. I'm going to stand what I think is right. So it's not like we just met Kathy Hochul. We know her. And I want to, before we bring on, I want to acknowledge her husband, Bill, was a prosecutor, U.S. Attorney Hardy, in the Western District. That's Buffalo, all Western New York. And he was U.S. Attorney under Barack Obama and prosecuted more cases of policing because the local DA wouldn't do it. Stand up. This is the husband, the first gentleman of the state of New York. And we're glad to have him with us. And am I seeing things? Is that the bishop in the back? First time in a year and a half. Welcome home, Bishop Herbert Daughtry in the house. Wow. 90 years old. 90 years old. All right. Well, this is a day to come back. Bishop Herbert Daughtry, 90 years old, ran down the aisle. Y'all can't see on radio. He has been here since the pandemic, but he's here, and we're so glad to see him. If it wasn't for Herb Daughtry, none of us would be doing what we do. Before I bring the governor, though, I told CJ, give him Reverend CJ James, who works for the governor and who's part of our community and part of our faith leaders statewide. I said the appropriate thing, having the governor at the House of Justice, is to hear from a governor. And that is the first and only black governor. She's the first woman governor, the first black governor from Harlem, who had the state Senate seat that Brian Benjamin had. And so there's a lot of history up on this stage. Nobody made Harlem prouder and nobody was stronger than our governor. And I wanted him to have remarks before we bring her on and welcome her to the House of Justice. Our governor, our former state senator, our fellow go to jail for Amadou Diallo and led the march for Eric Garner. Give a hand, Gwen Carr in the house. Governor David A. Patterson.
When Reverend Sharpton started having these Saturday morning rallies, which was over 30 years ago, and we were in PS 175, we were in a school, I don't think we ever imagined where we would be today. Nobody was coming to visit us. Nobody wanted to, be part of anything that we wanted to do, but things have really changed now. So many of you in the audience who come here every week, who go and march, who fight for justice in this community, maybe you'd like to be governor one day. So if you would, and you look at this stage, my thing is, why spend millions of dollars are running for governor when you can run for lieutenant governor and wind up in the same place. We have had these events before. We have had people who were newly in office or running for office come here and raise hopes that they couldn't fulfill, make promises that they couldn't keep, peddle a bunch of simplistic exaggerations that parodied the truth rather than help us. And it's the reason why often we look with a little skepticism upon new candidates and new office holders. But that is not the case here. I've been working with Governor Hochul since 2003 when I became the minority leader of the New York State Senate. Her husband, Bill Hochul, and she were the first group to have me at their home when Governor Spitzer made me his lieutenant governor in 2006. Every time we have asked them for help, we have gotten a response. As Reverend Sharpton said, during the George Floyd situation, no one had to call Governor Hochul. She came here on her own. And so we can rest assured, we don't have to go through the anxiety that we have about hugging people and meeting people, and we don't really know what they're going to do. There's a proven record of performance that Governor Hochul held as the city clerk in Buffalo, as lieutenant governor of New York, and even in the first 12 days of being governor of New York. And she picked as a lieutenant governor a man who's walking distance from the House of Justice, Brian Benjamin, our new lieutenant governor. So if you have any problem, you can just walk over to his place because he lives around the block. And he serves food 24 hours a day in case you are hungry. So I just want to thank the new team that's in Albany. And looking at what they've done just in the first 2 weeks makes me feel confident that they will be there for quite a long time. Thank you very much.
When it was announced, I got the text message that the governor Cuomo was resigning. I started getting calls, and within the hour, I got a call on my cell phone, and I didn't know the number. And y'all know how some of y'all get my cell phone number, so I don't answer it, because if I don't know the number. And this number come back again, and I answered it. And the voice on the other side said, "Reverend, this is Kathy Hochul, and I want you to know as I take over that I'm going to keep reaching out to all of you to work with us, because we've got to heal this state." And she said the first thing I did was get on my knees and thank God. She said, "I don't pray standing up, I get on my knees and thank God for giving me an opportunity to serve." That's how she started. And we talked a little, and then she called me the next day, and then she called me to let me know about Brian Benjamin. Let me say this. We are at a critical testing point in this state. We have just been ravaged with Ida, which is why she's got to speak and leave and go join AOC. We've just had to deal with the issues of this pandemic that is not over. Our local Inez Dickens has just been found positive with COVID-19. She takes the helm at a time that we need clear-sighted vision and people who are not blinded by ambition, but that are blinded by having an agenda to serve the people. Well, let's welcome our Impact Television station. We're live now across the country. We need people that are sure-footed and that know who they are. The biggest problem that we have with a lot of elected officials is they are more concerned with who they want to be than who they are. And the one thing that always struck me about Governor Kathy Hochul before she was governor and now is she know who she is. Her self-awareness is apparent. And you can't help anybody else until you know who you are yourself. I bring you the governor of the state of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul.
Thank you, my friends. Thank you. To be introduced in such a way by a legendary individual who's had a profound difference in how we view the black community, how we view racial and social justice, how we even view democracy in terms of voting rights. Reverend Al, you are a great person, and your words are truly humbling to me to know that you'll be a partner of mine as we navigate some turbulent waters. But with you on my side and the individuals who are here today, I feel emboldened and empowered because God has put us here. God has brought us to this point. And I feel every morning when I wake up, I've got God on one shoulder telling me what to do, and my beloved mother in heaven, who I lost a few years ago, telling me what to do as well. So I feel empowered to be a voice for all of you, but not just a voice, a fighter, because I like a good fight. And we have a lot of fights ahead of us, my friend. But when I have people like Governor David Paterson as well, David Paterson, who has been an ally and a friend, and he's given me so much advice. And I'm going to continue to rely on him and empower him to do even more. Let's give a great applause to our great friend, David Paterson, as well. And I take inspiration from so many people. Bishop Daughtry, you coming here, 90 years old, getting up and literally jogging down the hallway here. I mean, what a man this is. What an inspiration he is. Let's give him another round of applause as well. But also, my friends, I'm a mom. And when something happens to children, our own children, even if they're adults, it's a searing pain to know that we've lost some people's children. They're their babies. And I look at Gwen Carr and the courage that she has mustered to stand up and fight for justice in her son's name and lead a national movement. Let's give a round of applause to Gwen Carr as well. Thank you, my friend. So here we are in the House of Justice. I love the sound of that. I love the sound of that. And my husband was a fighter for justice. He worked for the Department of Justice. And he made sure that the Department of Justice executed justice fairly. And he earned the respect of so many people. And President Obama elevating him to that position was one of the highest honors our family could have ever been bestowed upon. I want to thank him for being my life partner, my source of support, my rock for 37 years. And we signed up for another 37. So you're going to see him around for a long time. I love this man. Well, we're here today to make a wonderful announcement. And let me give you a little context. People say, yes, you've only been in office for 12 days. You're dealing with a pandemic which continues to rage, and I'll be speaking to Inez Dickens shortly. I didn't want to wake her up too early in the morning. I hope she's feeling okay, but she's been a dear friend. It's affecting people that we care about, and it continues. But we have to fight back. We also have to get our kids back in school safely because too many children, black and brown children in particular, have fallen by the waysides. And as I said, I'm a mom, and I can't let that happen. That is too painful to think that all the hours of education and nurturing and caring they lost last year has affected them so deeply. We have to help our kids get back to school. I'm making sure that happens as well. And then on top of it all, we have people, because of the pandemic, who are at risk of being literally thrown out of their homes, evicted. Now, they lost their jobs not because they didn't look for a job. They lost it because the pandemic ended their job. People weren't going back to work. The hotels, the restaurants, the office cleaners. So many people lost their jobs, and the jobs aren't back. And they couldn't make their payments for their rents and their mortgage. And because of the Supreme Court, they were just about to be thrown out on the street. My friends, we already have a huge homeless problem. I'm not going to take any steps to add more people to their ranks. We have to solve that problem and take care of the people who deserve to be in the dignity of a good home. So we changed it. I brought back an extraordinary session, they called it. I made everybody come back to Albany. Sorry about that, everybody, but it was important. It was important that you be there to do the work of the people, and you extended the moratorium. You made sure that we could do that importantly, but also you did something that had been long delayed unnecessarily, and that was to establish the framework for going forth with the cannabis industry, because so many communities have been hit hard by indiscriminate incarceration for generations. Those communities deserve to have the resources flowing back into them, and it was all jammed up for some reason I can't even explain. Now I unleash that power, and we're going to have a robust industry, and people will benefit from this, so let's get that done. It started this past week as well. But on top of all that, Mother Nature must not like me very much, because she's really seemed mad when all of a sudden the heavens open up. And I live near Niagara Falls, my friends. I know what a lot of water looks like. Niagara Falls came out of the heavens and rushed into our subways, into our basements, and devastated people's homes. And I saw this firsthand as I walked the streets and wept with people and held their hands as they were on the ground trying to find if they could see a little picture of their baby pictures or their wedding pictures that were just ruined by the rain. It is heartbreaking. And I feel things deeply. If you know one thing I learned from my mama is empathy, feeling other people's pain. But it's not just feeling the pain, but it's also offering them hope. And by showing up, you give them hope. But hope is also just not enough, my friends. You give them hope and you give them help. You reach out and you give them the resources they need to rebuild, and that's what I'm doing. That's what we're focused on. We're also going to be dealing with gun violence because it has ripped apart too many lives. People feeling preyed upon in their own neighborhoods, other individuals who need an alternative. They need to know there's a better life for them with good paying jobs and training, and I'm going to focus on all those. So that's just a quick snapshot of our first week in office, but I'm finding out I can't do this alone. I can't do this alone. I need a partner, because extraordinary times call for extraordinary leaders, and my friends, I found that person right here in Harlem, one of our own, and following in the great footsteps of David Patterson. I know talent, I know people who have courage, I know people who have heart, people who are decent human beings, a good family man, a wonderful father to Caroline and his soon-to-be-born baby right around Election Day. Great timing there, Kat. This is a real person. This is a person who understands what people are going through. And he was able to lift himself up, getting a fantastic degree at Brown University and a master's degree in business at Harvard University, okay? This is one smart man. And I want him as my partner, so I'm going to charge him with a lot of responsibilities, making sure that our NYCHA housing is restored to the way it should be for people, because they deserve the dignity of having heat on in the wintertime and air conditioning in the summertime and elevators that work and no more mold in their homes, my friends. This is America. We can do better than this. And I'm charging Brian Benjamin to work with me and my team to work on elevating people's lives and giving them better homes. And I'm also going to get him working on something else that he cares very passionately about, and that is restoring trust, dealing with the criminal justice system, and saying we can do better. Yes, we need our police, and we respect them for protecting us in our homes and in our houses and our businesses. We need that partnership. But when people cross the line, there has to be much more accountability and a message that things will happen to you if you do something to someone else that's not appropriate. Let's rebuild here. And I feel confident in Brian Benjamin's abilities, again, to partner with me to get that done. I'm not going to throw out promises because I don't trust politicians to make promises. I never have, never will. You judge me at the end of our terms, and notice the word terms, okay? You judge us at the end, but as we go through this journey together, you are part of our army, okay? God's with us. God is guiding us. But I need the people on the ground, as Reverend Al mentioned, the people who aren't in the headlines, but the people who can make profound change in people's lives. That's what we're here for. My mother's favorite saying, and I'll close with this, and she had this on our refrigerator: go into the world and do well. But more importantly, go into the world and do good. My friends, we're going to do good for the people of the state. With Brian Benjamin at my side, we're going to do great things for the people of the state. Let's welcome our Lieutenant Governor, Brian Benjamin. Yeah.
Governor Kathy Hochul. Let's give her another round of applause. I would be remiss if I didn't give a big thank you to Governor David Patterson for all of his guidance, his counsel, his leadership. He is someone who will tell me the truth, whether it's good or bad. And that is the kind of leadership that you want. You know, I wouldn't be standing here right now if it wasn't for all of you. Reverend Sharpton, thank you for allowing me to join the movement, to be able to be a part of this amazing, amazing, amazing organization. You know, I remember the first morning, oh no, give him a round of applause, please. I remember the first morning I was supposed to come here at 9 a.m. I will never forget it. Teresa Freeman was saying to me, Brian, you want to do this, you want to do that. Oh, I know, I'm going to bring her up real quick. You want to do this, you want to do that. You need to come to the House of Justice. We the ones who are doing all the work. We the ones who are active. I said, okay, well, what time do you meet, Teresa? And she said 9 a.m. Saturday morning. Now, when you are a little younger and there's something called Friday night, 9 a.m. Saturday morning sounds really challenging. I'm going to tell y'all the truth. But I'm going to tell you, from that first Saturday I came, it became so easy and so amazing ever since, because real work happens here. People's lives get changed here. The portfolio you just heard Governor Hochul wants to charge me with, I learned that work here. So I just want to thank all of you for allowing me to be a part of this movement. You know, it's one thing to get educated at fancy schools. It's another thing to learn how life really works on the streets. And the National Action Network, you have been my home. And as I move on to be Lieutenant Governor, as Governor Patterson said, I still live down the street. Don't come visit me that often. But I will do everything I can to be a great Lieutenant Governor. Let me also say before I sit, because I don't want to speak too long, Governor Kathy Hochul, I'm so thankful to her. And one of the reasons why I'm so thankful to her is because, as was mentioned, when she was Lieutenant Governor, I just got elected in May of 2017, and one of the first things I was doing was going to visit small businesses on 8th Avenue. Our local minority and women-owned businesses. By the way, the majority of jobs in our community, Governor Hochul, are our small businesses. People who are out here working hard every day. Some got a side hustle, some got a storefront, but that is where our jobs are. And so I said to her, I want to go visit our small business. I want to make sure that the state is delivering for them. I just got started. She said, Brian, I'm going to rearrange my calendar because I want to come walk with you on 8th Avenue. And she rearranged her calendar and she came to Harlem. And not only did she walk with me then, which is an important point, she has been a partner ever since as we try to make sure that our small businesses in Harlem are taken care of, even as we are dealing with the pandemic. Thank you, Governor Hochul, for not just being someone who says you're going to do something, but for being the person who actually does what you say you're going to do. That's how you restore trust in government. She has asked me to do a few things. She mentioned just now NYCHA and making sure that we have real resources, but also a real coordinated strategy for how we're going to treat our brothers and sisters who live in public housing. You know, it is easy to have very detailed and thoughtful strategies about everyone else, but we need to make sure that our communities where our people live get the same level of love and attention that everyone else gets all over the state. And she is committed to doing that, and I commit to you that I will make that a very serious priority. Secondly, she's asked me to make sure that our renters and our small landlords who have been devastated through COVID, people have lost incomes, they haven't paid their rent. We all know people who have up to a year, if not more, of rental arrears. The federal government has provided almost $3 billion to be sent out to our residents. We need to make sure that money gets to our residents. We cannot have that money stuck in Albany. She's going to make that happen, and she's asked me to help her in that charge because it is not only right, it is also good for our economy. right? Some people forget, we are big consumers in this state. Black and brown people are big consumers, and when we get hurt, everyone gets hurt. She understands that, I understand that, and we're gonna make sure we get that money out. And then COVID. As Reverend Sharpton mentioned, our dear sister Inez Dickens has been stricken with COVID. Fortunately for her, she was vaccinated. Fortunately for her, there are many others who are getting COVID who are not vaccinated. And what the difference is when you're vaccinated versus when you're not vaccinated in terms of the possibility for hospitalizations and death are vast. We have to figure out together what we need to do to make sure that those of us who are not interested in getting vaccinated, we can't just shove it down people's throats. We need to listen to people, we need to have real conversations, and we need to encourage and convince people that vaccinations will save lives, and that is what she's asked me to do, and I'm happy to do that, and we're gonna work together to make sure that happens. Lastly, let me say, I would not be standing here without my family and my staff who keeps me going. When the governor called me and she said to me, I would like for you to be my partner. First of all, I almost passed out, to start with that. And then I had to wait for a second because y'all know my mom. My mom is always nervous and there's always a conspiracy around the corner somewhere. But I said, let me stop and see if she'll say it again or see like there's some kind of trick. But she said, I want to start talking, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh my gosh, this woman is serious. But she asked me, and I said, Governor, I need to talk to my wife. Because we have Caroline, she's 2.5. I'm looking at her, she's now 7 months pregnant with baby number 2, another girl. I'm gonna be like a girl dad like you, Reverend Sharpton. And I said, if we do this, this is not a me doing this is a we doing this. This is a big undertaking to join a governor who is committed and who works tirelessly around the clock to make sure that New York State's in shape. And I went to Kathleen, I said, Kat, I just got a call from Governor Hochul. I didn't even know how to tell her. You know how sometimes you gotta tell somebody something, you don't even know how to tell them what you're telling them? I said, and she wants me to join her. She's like, oh, that's great. But I said, well, she wants me to join her as her lieutenant governor. And she almost passed out too, which I didn't need her to do because she's 7 months pregnant. And she thought about it. She walked around. She came back. She thought about it. She said, you know what? I think you'd be great for New York State. I think you and her would be a great team. Let's do this. So I want to thank my family and my staff who helped keep me going. And I want to thank, lastly, Governor Kathy Hochul for being about it, not just talking about diversity, but being about it and making sure that she's gonna have a collaborative, inclusive government where we all work together for the state of New York. Those who are closest to the problems are typically closest to the solutions, and we need everyone at the table, everyone on board to keep New York State where it is and grow even further. Thank you, National Action Network. I love you so much. I will be here. I will continue to be here, and we will make New York State the best state in the union together. Thank you very much.